So about 6 months ago, I was asking myself, why do people get married? And the whole reason I was asking that question is because I had an existential crisis where I didn't really know if people had a reason for doing anything that they do. Why do people have kids other than, well, I want one. Well, I want to continue my lineage. Well, I don't want to be lonely. It's like a real philosophical, valuable reason why you should have a kid, right? And the same went for marriage. And guess what? I actually found the answers to these things. But the answers are probably not in tune with what the average person getting married believes in because the divorce rate's so damn high. Anyway, why should you get married? Why should you have this big ceremony just to say, yeah, I'll live with you for the rest of my life? Why do I gotta do this? Why do you gotta have a big ceremony to be in a relationship and have a kid and whatever? Well, number one, it is not nothing to say that you want to live with someone for the rest of your life, no matter what. Let me just read the vow itself. It's a vow for a reason. It's a big deal. But this kind of encapsulates it as it should be. For better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and health, I promise to love and cherish you. That is why marriage is such a big deal. Because you are making a promise in front of God, in front of your parents, their friends, your whole family, their whole family, your employers, your coworkers, your elementary school teachers. That is why marriage is valuable, because you're making a huge, huge promise. And that's why we have big ceremonies that people spend tons of money on to seal the deal. Because it's a massive thing to celebrate. It's worthy of celebration. For someone to say, no matter what, I'm going to love you and I don't care what happens. I don't care if, I don't care. I'm going to be there at your damn deathbed from old age, and we're going to be holding hands and we're going to pass on to the afterlife together. That's what I want. That is insane. But that's why marriage is so important. So essentially, this is why people get married. But there's also a couple other reasons other than the promise of being together forever through sickness and through, poorness, wealth, whatever. For richer or for poorer, sickness and health. Another reason people get married is because it's really sealing the deal of you acknowledging that the other person is full of serpents and you yourself are full of serpents, and maybe you know their serpents more than you know your own. Maybe you know them more than they do, and you know that the two of you are both humans who are confused and lost and thrown into this world, but you guys are going to make it work anyway. I think in that sense it can be the greatest sort of contract you can ever sign, is saying that I know what you're capable of and I know what I'm capable of, but we choose love, we choose each other, which is huge to say. And then also it's to say that, no matter what, I'm going to be honest with you. And I think this is one of the bigger problems that I see in today's relationships is honesty. I think a good way to categorize relationships I see, they're kind of like a long and drawn out interview where you're each putting on a mask for the longest time and you're trying to appeal to someone else. And you're trying to answer the questions right, and you're trying to play your cards in a way that makes you more powerful and have more influence over the other person. And this isn't coming from my own perspective per se, but it's coming from my own experience with every girl I've known, every girl I've ever dated. This has been true. There's a mask to some extent. They're hiding things and they're not being completely honest about things. And I talk to every single one of them about this, right? Nothing but honesty, okay? We're not playing a game here. And they fail every time, no matter how good the girl is. And perhaps that's just my own personal frustration, but this is really what it takes for you to say, I want to marry you. It's to say, I'm going to hurt your damn feelings because I'm going to do what's good for you. And what's good for you, you might not always like to hear, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I'm going to support your goals, your aspirations, and your dreams, but I'm not going to let you destroy yourself. I'm not going to let you sit on your ass and smoke and drink your days away when you have shit to be doing, like as hyperbole, figuratively over literally. But that it's to say, you point out the weaknesses in the other person. You point out each other's weaknesses, and you have conversations on how to grow and become better. You point out the times where you are less than savory to each other, the times where you think that, their demeanor could have been better or whatever. And this is just part of marriage. This is to say, this is something you need to accept. This is my opinion here. But let me explain. No relationship is going to be absolutely perfect without a single conflict of any type, without any sort of issue along the way. There's no such thing. And the only times which that is true is when you're dealing with that long and drawn out interview where it's either you who is full of serpents putting on that mask of fucking, I don't know, an angel, or, you know, maybe she's doing that, or maybe both of you are. And so things are so damn perfect, and you guys are just the best couple in the world, and nothing can get in between you. Little do you know, couples who fail to have any conflict at all are actually very, very prone to things exploding. Because if your partner's not used to coming up to you and saying, hey man, you know, I think you're doing wrong, your partner can't do that, divorce rate is 50 to 90% depending on who you are. And I'm leaning towards 100% on people who can't be fucking honest in a relationship. And honesty isn't to say you're lying, but honesty is to say you have nothing to hide and you're an open book. And you're willing to say things that aren't necessarily requested. You're completely comfortable with your past, and you want to be comfortable with your partner's past, and like all these things, whatever, man. But yeah, that's the other reason why people get married, is because well, this is why they should. They don't, but this is why they should. Is that you can be vulnerable and you can say things that risk you hurting their feelings, and you can rip off that mask of fakeness, and you can get out of that interview, and you can say, I'm going to be real with you, and you're not going to like it, or maybe you will like it, or maybe you won't like it. I don't care, because I care about you, and I'm going to tell you what I think is important for your life to succeed, and it's XYZ, whatever it might be. And people just don't do this. I think that really sums up the main reasons why marriage exists and why people do it. It's because you say, no matter what, whether you're rich, poor, sick, healthy, old, young, we're gonna make this through together, and I want to be with you forever, no matter what. And that's not an emotional thing to say. It's a thing based on logic and reason and complete acceptance of the other person for all their flaws and all the things that make them who they are. And then in addition to that is complete honesty. It's to say, you know, hey, you're drinking a little too much. You know, I don't like that. If you keep drinking, you're in the doghouse. It's to say, I don't like the way you're being. I don't like what's going on. I feel like something's wrong here. You need to tell me. And also to have, just kind of have like the perspicacity to say, you know, to have insight into what's going on in their head and trying to want to have that. So while the Disney movies might make it seem like, you know, you find a prince and a princess and they fall in love and they live the rest of their life happily ever after, we were throwing spears at each other 2,000 years ago, and we continue to rip each other to parts and shred each other up and deface each other's corpses in war today, right? We're blowing each other up and destroying children's hospitals and murdering civilians in war. Okay, this is what humans do. Humans are a little evil. Humans aren't all that perfect. Humans aren't all princes and princesses. And you're a damn narcissist and a liar if you think that's true. Even for yourself. I know I have serpents, man. I know my weaknesses. And in a world where I have someone else to tell me what my weaknesses are, if I'm not aware of them, then I'll know those as well. But no, life is not a Disney movie. Relationships take a lot of work. Okay? They take a lot of work, they take a lot of communication, and they take a lot of honesty, and they take a lot of dedication. Because you know when you found your forever person. And at that point, it's just merely honesty and being open. And so this is why, boys and girls, you need to vet other guys and girls out very early on for this. You need to make sure they can be brute when they need to be. Or I meant blunt. Maybe it means the same thing. I don't fucking know. But they can be blunt when they need to be. You need to make sure they can do this. You need to make sure that they're okay with having some confrontation. They're okay with telling you the truth. They're not completely just putting on a mask. You need to figure out who they are as soon as possible. If you're seriously considering this person for the long term, you need to know quick, or else it's going to cost you the potential opportunity to meet the person who actually will give you those things. But anyway, that's all for this one. I hope this video was insightful to you. I hope this helped. And leave comments if you have any ideas for videos. If you want me to talk about something, I'll put a little bit of research into it and see what it's all about, and I'll make a video on it. But that'll be all for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like, sub, comment, share with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.